And one more thing, Brie. When you were making blackface pages of me and making dolphin faces of me and overdrawn lips and trying to mock me and doing all sorts of racist things, Becca was the one who was making sure she looked out for me. She was exposing you and Gypsy. One thing about me is that I always have a lot of loyalty to people that look out for me when they don't have to. I know you don't know what that's like. You only have loyalty to things that could benefit you and kind of help your ego since you don't really feel good about yourself. But me, I value people that look out for me. And the fact that you would try to manipulate things to fit the agenda that you want to fit to cause strife, yeah, you're a bottom feeder. So next time you need to try it with someone that isn't smart enough to understand what is happening because I know that you don't deal with a lot of intelligent people. It's very clear. And you yourself aren't someone that's intelligent. So I understand that because you're used to dealing with that caliber of a person, you don't know what it's like to deal with someone that knows your game. And that is why I've always said I have no desire to speak to you and I never will speak to you. You could play in traffic, you can do whatever you want to do, but leave me alone and don't tag me into your stuff. And as far as your ghetto friends, I do not have a desire to converse with them. As in, I don't, that's hood rat activity, and I don't do that. So you can leave that over there. And that's all I have to say on that. But I forgot to say that to you, and I felt like it needed to be said. Diddy really has his hands on the media. I don't think a lot of people are really realizing this. And back when they were really flagging my post on TikTok and saying it wasn't accurate information, but then I would appeal it and they'd put it back up, let me know that Diddy and his team were really getting down and trying to stop what content creators had to say about him. But this time, it's the Daily News that's basically saying like they're going to have to prove it and acting as if there is no proof that Diddy is a monster. I think people forget that they've been investigating this man for 10 years, dating back 30 years. You think they was just doing that for nothing? And I'm so tired of them playing his attorney playing the race card saying, oh, well, no white man has ever been charged with this crime and blah, 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 blah. Okay, it doesn't matter, but you're still a monster and you should still be charged no matter what color your skin is. Period. You know better, Diddy. And I just, ugh. Like, I feel like everybody, I don't care what color your skin is, you need to be charged. And anyone that has done this needs to be charged too. But I just don't think that that's a reason for someone to get off on being nasty. But anyway, y'all, watch these clips and let me know what you think.
Cassie Ventura, his ex, I do wonder if she will be called to testify at all in any of these trials.
In regards to the criminal trial, I could definitely see her there. Could it also potentially happen in regards to the civil case if there's some kind of knowledge related to the case itself? That could potentially happen because of the information and the knowledge that she allegedly knows, and also the video that people saw is very, very powerful as well. P. Diddy's team can try and get that information out and try and say potentially that it's too prejudiced. It's going to harm him so much that it's too prejudiced towards him.
How is it going for both sides, for both the prosecution and Diddy's team, in terms of fighting this out?
Well, from the government's perspective, that's going to be seen at trial. From the standpoint of P. Diddy and the fact that he has denied all the wrongdoing. And the fact that one case was dismissed without prejudice is pretty powerful from the perspective of someone who brought the case. And now all of a sudden that case is dismissed, could potentially sway people to think, well, why was that case, just dismissed? Like, are these allegations true or are these allegations not true? From P. Diddy bringing the defamation case and saying that you are harming me is a very powerful statement.
His attorney's argument that this no white person has ever been targeted of this similar charge. They're claiming that it's because he's a powerful black man that he's being targeted.
Well, no one is above the law, but the state who brings the case has the burden of proof, the government. And so they must prove every single element of the cause of action.
But do you think the argument actually does stand a chance?
Since the government, the state brings the case, they have to make sure that they have substantial evidence for this. And one of the potential arguments for a motion to dismiss legally is that they cannot prove their case, that they cannot prove the certain elements of the crime. Ultimately, we'll see what the judge does in this matter, whether to dismiss it or to say, no, this is going to go forward.
Luigi Mangione was in state court today, and it seems like the courts are trying to gaslight the public. Now, there was a reporter there today that reported on some things that happened. I want us to watch this.
Luigi walked in, he was shackled on his feet, he also was shackled on his hands, and he had this sort of vest on him, keeping the shackles
court
tight.
Manipulating.
His attorney, Karen Friedman-Agnivolo, she asked the judge if her client, Luigi, could have the shackles removed because, as of now, he is innocent until proven guilty, and the judge had denied that request. He said that everyone would feel more comfortable for security purposes for him to keep the shackles on during court. And
in my opinion, the court is trying to gaslight the public. The reason why they don't want him to come out of the shackles is to change the stigma of him being heroic. And they want the public to deem him as a danger to himself and society. And them keeping him shackled and saying, we need to keep you all safe, changes in your mind how you view the situation. And it makes you start questioning, well, okay, is he really someone that did something good? Is he something that really did something bad? If the judge thinks he's dangerous and can't even take him out of shackles while he's in court, it's a mind game that they're playing. Also, his attorney spoke today, and I think it's something that you all need to hear.
What I did not understand was how shocking it was that this week on HBO, in a documentary, I see the chief of detectives and the New York City mayor,
that should be a mistrial,
hair and makeup done, sitting down and giving an interview for television and talking about the evidence in Luigi's case, talking about police paperwork that we don't have, talking about forensics that we have not yet received. I guess we have now today, but I didn't when I was sitting there learning about the case, hearing an actor play Luigi reading from a journal that they say is Luigi's, and we have yet to receive it from the prosecution.
In my opinion, this is another manipulation tactic. The reason why they are putting this out in the media is because they feel like if they're saying they have this manifesto and they have all this information, it's tainting the public's opinion of him. And remember, they've been having an issue with getting a jury to indict him. And that's because you're not going to find everybody to agree that what he did was not for a cause. And so they're having a hard time, and them putting this out to the media, they're trying to change everybody's minds. Media is a blessing and a curse, and media can actually change people's opinion just the way it's phrased, the way it's said, who is delivering it, and how it's delivered. And I think that's really what they're trying to do. Now, also, something that I think is worth noting, the mayor, Eric Adams, was the mayor that was actually charged earlier late last year. Now, back in September of 2024, Mayor Eric Adams was indicted by the federal grand jury. Now, isn't that ironic? Well, he was pardoned by President Trump. Now, I believe this was last week, but the irony of this is this was the mayor that actually gave Diddy keys to the city. This is him and Diddy. Now, when he gave Diddy keys to the city, when these charges came out for Diddy, all of a sudden he took the keys to the city from him. Now, I could almost guarantee you, actually, I can guarantee that Mayor Eric Adams knew all of the scandals Diddy was tied into, allegedly. Now, this is Mayor Eric Adams perp walking behind Luigi Mangione. Could you imagine the mayor that was indicted on federal charges walking behind Luigi Mangione as if he's a dangerous criminal and he came to assist? I just want you guys to see the image that they're trying to put out there and take it for exactly what it is. I don't think unaliving someone is the answer, but I understand what took place and I understand what America is founded on. And all I can say is you make up your mind in whatever way you think is best. But I think it is very worth taking into account the fact that what is happening with the healthcare system, with insurance, and how many people are capitalizing off of this, and make your own decision. But I think at this point, America should see it for what it is. Okay, we also have an Onija update. Well, not really quite an update because we really don't have that much information, but I want you guys to watch this, and I think that this might actually be very accurate about Ramadan and Onija. But let me know your thoughts.
Guys, important news from the Onija Multiverse. If you have not been keeping up, the Onija Multiverse has many characters in it. Very important characters. So very important news that Shabana now has a TikTok. Yes, you heard it here first. Shabana has a TikTok. It's called Shabana Jilani. I reposted a clip from there, like one of her first few clips. It came on my feed. I was like, oh my God, finally, about time, queen. So guys, go follow our queen over there. Go support her. Tell her she looks great because she has a fresh blow dry in all of them. And I think she posted one in her police uniform and everything. So good job, Shabana. Finally, about time. Another important question, which I guess a lot of us are asking, and I mean, a lot of you have been messaging me also, is that where is Onija? Important question, valid question. I haven't been able to even get some credible information, but the credible information that I have is that she is not arrested, but is in protective custody. And she was removed from the plane because she was a flight risk. But now the important question is, who is she with right now? Because we have not heard anything for like 3 to 4 days. Like, is she with the Dubai government? Is she with the Americans, the American consulate, the American embassy, or is she with some third party? Who is she with? And when will she be returned or sent back to America? That is the valid question. You know, I think, and you heard it here first. Remember this. I think we might see a reappearance of her around the beginning of Ramadan. You know why? Because at the beginning of Ramadan, usually, a lot of these countries, they have this Ramadan extravaganza, this Ramadan bonanza, where they have this media frenzy where, you know, like they want to show, oh, it's the month of good and we're doing a good deed and we're such nice and kind and such lovely people. So, you know, yeah, I feel like at the beginning of Ramadan, month of good, media frenzy, and they know Onija has the eyes of the world watching her and she has all the media attention. I feel like at the beginning of Ramadan, she might be sent back to America, might be freed, and there'll be a whole media frenzy around it. And yeah, they might use it to their advantage to show them we're such kind people. Lovely month of good, Ramadan Mubarak. You heard it here first. If it happens, I want my award. Did y'all hear what the Menendez brothers said in the TMZ podcast? I'm going to actually play this because it's about to blow your mind.
Had a 40-minute conversation with Eric and Lyle Menendez behind bars. They've actually they've never spoken together in the 35 years they've been incarcerated. And they said a lot. Yeah, a lot about what their life has been like in prison, what they hope their life will be after they have this hearing, and there'll be a determination whether they should be resentenced and possibly released very shortly after that hearing. So I think one of the really remarkable things was to hear them talking about how their life changed when they went to prison and how violent. Obviously, people know that prison is a rough place. It can be violent. But think about it. You got these two young guys who committed murdered their parents, who are really affluent and celebrities. That's a bad combination. Yeah, and that played out very shortly after they went in. And this is Eric describing what happened to him repeatedly.
I faced a lot of bullying and trauma. There was it was a dangerous environment.
I feel so bad for them.
I was picked on, bullied violently, and it was traumatic, and it was continual. Prison can be hard, and there's a lot of suffering in prison. So, and I wasn't, I'm not going to fight back. I'm not going to, engage, and I had no one really to turn to for help, and I was separated from Lyle. And I remember the day that I was told Lyle just got assaulted and got his jaw broken, and it was, I'm thinking, he's over there, I'm going through this over here, and at least we could protect each other maybe if we were together, but we were not even allowed to be together, so it was different.
Could you imagine going through all that trauma and then turn around, you go to prison, and all of this happens to you? They've held up really well, but I really hope everything works out. I know there's a new administration, and we don't know how things are going to go, but I really do think they deserve a chance, and I know there's mixed feelings. People feel different ways, and some people feel like they shouldn't be out. Some people feel like they should. I feel like they deserve a chance. I think a lot of people don't really look at the things that they've done while they've been in prison, knowing that they were never going to get out. They still were helping, the disabled. They were helping, people through trauma and making, study groups and trauma groups and trying to help everyone. And, being able to work with the disabled and doing the type of services that they've done, it shows a servant's heart. And yes, they did something really brutal, but considering what was happening to them at the same time, and it's been proven and documented, I think we should look at the situation very different. And I feel really bad, and they've changed and they take accountability. One thing that I love is they've always said, I don't want to take away from the crime that I committed. So they very much are aware of what they did. They know they're wrong, and they are accountable and want to be held accountable. I don't know, drop your thoughts down below. I just thought that this was a very interesting conversation because I didn't know this.
This is LA County DA Nate Hochman, and he is just concluding a news conference in which he is saying he will oppose the Menendez brothers' petition for a new trial based on new evidence. We've reported that the new evidence is twofold. Number one, a letter in 1988 that Eric sent to one of his cousins suggesting he had been the victim of sexual abuse at the hands of his dad. And secondly, a member of Menudo who says in the 1980s, Jose Menendez molested him. Hochman believes that this evidence is dubious at best, and he gives a whole bunch of reasons why he thinks that. But ultimately, he says it's all irrelevant. He says it is about murder, and it is undeniable that the Menendez brothers did indeed murder their mom and their dad. And he emphasizes that they changed their story multiple times, initially trying to cover up and make it appear they did not do it. So he says even if there is sexual abuse here, he doesn't think it should have any bearing and that the murder convictions should stick. Now that said, there are two other things going on. One is resentencing, and this is a big deal. Next month, Mark Garagos, the lawyer for Eric and Lyle Menendez, will go to court and argue that the sentence should be changed from life without the possibility of parole to something less. And if something less is what the judge does, then the Menendez brothers would be eligible for parole, and a parole board could decide that they're rehabilitated and they don't pose a danger to society, and they could be released. Now, this is really significant. If you listen to the TMZ podcast, Two Angry Men, with myself and Mark Garagos, the Menendez brothers come on and they talk about their lives and how they have changed in the 35 years since they have been imprisoned. That is the big issue now. Will the DA go along with resentencing? The prior DA was on board. Hochman is very non-committal on this issue. He said not only has he not decided it, he has not even heard the podcast listening to these two brothers talk for the very first time in 35 years publicly about their lives. So that is still on the table. And the third thing is clemency from the governor. The governor right now seems to be taking a back seat watching what plays out in court. But Governor Gavin Newsom does have the power to commute their sentence, and they could be released immediately if that happens. So, short story, the DA will oppose a new trial. The DA has not decided yet whether he will support or oppose resentencing, and the governor is waiting in the wings and has the power to commute.
After watching this Gabby Petito documentary, I actually really think that Brian Landry is still alive. Why did the police go to his house and his parents nor him had anything to say other than giving his attorney's business card? The crazy part about it is Gabby seemed like such a love life, live life, happy, go lucky type of person. She started this journey in her van to basically document it, but she was going dark so often. So what was happening? I really think he was abusing her way before, and he's clearly a narcissist, and his parents and his family have played into this as well. Because to his mom and dad, Brian could do no wrong, and that alone tells you a whole lot. When they originally got a 911 call, they were saying that Gabby Petito was getting beat on by Brian Landry. Why did that same person change their story? I thought that was so odd. Then after Brian realized that he wasn't going to jail, he became very loose and acted like a frat boy with them. Why? I honestly really do think he was posting, especially that YouTube video of the journey. I think he posted that. I really think that he is still alive and his family is covering for him, because they immediately lawyered up, which means he told them that he did something messed up. Honestly, his parents should be charged too. Now you guys know what time it is. It's time for some Black history. I think that these are some things that are really worth noting, and I love sharing this with you guys because it's so much that I feel like we don't know. And, you know, as adults, like a lot of times history is just not something we focus on because there's so much going on with life. So I'm so happy that you guys are so receptive to me adding this segment for this month in my videos. So I hope you guys enjoy this.
Black history facts that will impress you. Born into slavery in 1846 to a 15-year-old father and a 13-year-old mother, George Washington Johnson was taken by their owner, who was a prosperous farmer, into the farmer's home and made the playmate of the farmer's own son, where he latter gained his freedom. In the 1870s, he migrated to New York City and became a street performer, basically, working for pennies and coins, singing songs on the streets of New York. In 1890, Johnson, a former slave, became the first African-American musician to make commercial records. During his short but successful singing career, Johnson sold thousands of recordings. Even though his contribution to the music industry has been mostly ignored, Johnson's The Laughing Song was added to the National Recording Registry.
This is why you need to know Granville T. Woods, the genius behind the first electric roller coaster, an unsung hero who electrified our world in more ways than one. Born in 1856, this brilliant black inventor received over 50 patents, revolutionizing everything from automatic brakes to phonographs. But it's his work on the figure-8 roller coaster that changed the thrill game forever. Originally designed for trains, Woods modified his electric rail system to power an amusement ride, debuting it at Coney Island in 1892. Imagine the excitement of that first ride, the sensation of speed and innovation merging into pure joy. Yet Woods faced incredible resistance. In a time when society couldn't fathom a black man at the forefront of innovation, many of his ideas were stolen. Woods's inventions were so groundbreaking that companies like General Electric, Westinghouse, and American Engineering sought them out. When he passed away in 1910, he was remembered as the Black Thomas Edison. And in a fitting tribute in April 2008, the corner of Stillwell and Mermaid Avenues was named Granville T. Woods Way. So next time you experience the thrill of a roller coaster, remember the genius who made it possible. Granville T. Woods, a name worth celebrating.
One of the most disturbing Black history facts that they don't want us to talk about. In 1918, a woman named Mary Turner was lynched. Mary was 8 months pregnant at the time of her lynching. She was lynched for expressing how upset she was that her husband was lynched the day prior. Her husband's name was Hayes Turner. Hayes Turner was sent to lynching because they said that he was an accomplice in murdering a very well-known white farmer. Mary Turner was upset because she knew that her husband did not have anything to do with it. She was so upset, and rightfully so, at 8 months pregnant about losing her husband, that she threatened to take legal action against the mob who lynched her husband. This threat enraged the white mob, and the way that they took Mary's life was so inhumane, I don't even think I could explain it on this app. But I'll do my best because the story needs to be talked about. While lynching was typically done with the person standing right side up, they decided to hang Mary upside down. They then removed her clothes by setting fire to them. While Mary was still alive and hanging upside down, the mob took a large and removed from her belly. They then took their feet and stepped on the crying while it was on the ground. After all of that, the mob took their weapons and filled her body with holes. And yeah, this was 107 years ago. That's not a long time. Happy Black History Month.
All right, y'all. I hope that you guys liked this video, and I hope you guys all had a really great day. I know I am. How is everybody doing? I would love for you guys to drop down below how you guys are doing, and well wishes to everyone. Bye-bye for now.